Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Steve of Real Progressives. So, what is it going to take to make people realize that in order to make substantive change in this country, it requires us to stay dialed in and on point, on focus, and not scatter around and not sit there and bounce from issue to issue and allow the MSM and allow people that are, less committed to change to change us, to take us out of our groove, to take us away from what we know is necessary. And, unfortunately, hey, Jennifer, hey, hello, Donna. I'm finding that for me, hi, Jamie. Hey, Donna, hey, Baja, Mexico, good, or California, hey, good deal. Hey, Erical. All right, so just as a point of reference, as you watch people fall back into slumber and you see people get discouraged because they put their hopes and prayers in the Democratic Party, and they look over at the Democratic Party and they see that, well, they got Tom Perez. They got Tom Perez, and Tom Perez has been on record for saying he supports, hey, Richard, supports the TPP, and that he supports so many freaking things that we fought against. And he's even gone out of his way to kind of let us know that Hillary Clinton is still in play for 2020. Now, is it going to be Hillary Clinton? I don't know. When you say forget the Democrats, it's very important to understand my role here. I personally am not a Democrat in that sense. I'm not supporting the Democratic Party. I am trying to pull people out of the Democratic Party. So I can't really forget about the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is where a lot of people who are kind of marginal progressives tend to live. You know what I'm saying? This is where a lot of the people that we need to extricate from their Stockholm syndrome exist. So I guess what I'm saying is, what is it going to take for them to really care, to see the changes that they claim to want? Single payer, green energy, Medicare for all, the idea of college for all. We're talking about paid family medical leave, all the things that you know and love. What is it going to take for them to really believe in their heart of hearts that we can have that? And quite honestly, let me be real honest about us on the outside that are trying to pull people out. As much as we have the right ideas, if we don't stay centered and focused on that very small consumable package of what the Bernie Sanders platform was and what Jill Stein's platform was, if we don't stay focused on that and we allow ourselves to get sidetracked with worrying about Donald Trump, if we allow ourselves to do that, it's going to be very, very hard to explain who and what we are. It's going to be very difficult later down the road to pull those people in to fight for this package. See, I don't care if they're Democrats. I don't care if they're left, right, center. When you make a good case for what it is, the package that we're fighting for, and you stay on point, on message, and you keep grinding that message home, people have to start falling away and embracing it. But what is it going to take to get them to get to a point where they think it is possible even? What is it going to take to get them to believe that we have the power to make that change happen? Right? I mean, seriously, let's be fair. Jill Stein couldn't even rack up 1%. Now, mind you, I'm sure there was irregularities and all the other stuff that goes along with our very, very, very FUBAR voting system. But what is it going to take to instill confidence in people that by leaving the duopoly and joining a third party, or even just being independent outside the party, what is it going to take for them to see that there's some real reason to do that other than they suck? I mean, they suck. We know that. We're on record. Everybody's on record. They've shown their ass. They've proven they're terrible beyond words, but yet they don't see outside of the duopoly as a real possibility. We have a first past the post election system, right? So right there in and of itself, you've got a structural hurdle that you've got to overcome. And you've got to be able to have an answer for the hope that lies within to explain how you're going to overcome the first past the post. You have to also have an answer for the hope that lies within for how you're going to ferret out all these corporate assholes. And as you look, you see, point blank, the Democratic Party, who holds the vast majority of the people that we would typically bring this way, the Democratic Party has once again shown that they can use identity politics by putting up Perez, and that they can say absolutely nothing about the issues that matter to America. And they can stay dialed in on Russians, and they can stay dialed in on Donald Trump, and they can keep enough people locked in Stockholm Syndrome, trapped in that party. So I'm asking you all, this is not something that you're going to necessarily have an answer for me, but it's something to think about. It's something that we need to strive for. What is the value proposition for bringing them out? How do they actually make change? How do we actually force change? I don't want to be a part of some impeach Trump, show me your tax returns Trump shit. It takes a long time to fight through getting people to understand single payer. That to me is uno priority, super high up, right? And then you talk about green energy. Folks, how do you get them to understand that we can pull this off? It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to be able to deliver on it. How do we present that in a way? And I can tell you right now, every time you talk about Donald Trump, you've taken another coin out of the jar for credibility. You can't really get that coin back unless you start focusing on your platform. Remember, Bernie Sanders' platform, Jill Stein's platform, and focus on those issues. It takes a long time to get people's brains wrapped around that it is possible to do this. That's what I'm telling you all. That's my message today. That's my message today. I can't focus. I can't focus on Donald Trump. And it always, as you know, comes down to how are you going to pay for it? But before we even get to how are you going to pay for it, because you know my answer, before we even get there, they want to know how you're even going to get it up for a vote. They want to know how you're even going to do anything other than go out in the streets and yell and scream. They want to know how you're going to do it beyond that. And so, for my friends out there who are trying to build parties beyond the duopoly, remember, your credibility, your veracity, your ability to deliver change is as crucial to the building of your party and to building this movement as it is to have the right sensibilities. You've got to focus on how you're going to overcome the structural hurdles. And you have to put plans in place today. Fuck Trump. Today, you've got to put plans in place on how you're going to overcome those structural hurdles. This is the most important thing. It's really, really hard to get angry, like really, really angry at the folks who are sleepwalking back into the Justice Dems and back into the duopoly when they are afraid and they don't see how you can pull this off. I'm saying credibility. We have got to work on the platform and make sure that they know that we don't need to reinvent the wheel, folks. That platform is solid. Jill's meets Bernie's, and you put that together, that is a winning progressive platform. How do we deliver it? Well, that's up to the bigs to deal with, folks. That's up to these external parties, these creators of parties, that they've got to work through, and we've got to help them work through. But talking about Donald Trump, do you understand? This is not saying I'm for Donald Trump. The work that we have to do, if you've ever tried to execute on a project of any variety, you know that you have got to lay the tracks down. You've got to do them step by step by step, or you don't get the thing done right. You know what I'm saying? We've got to have more than a I hate Trump mindset. We've got to be seeking opportunities to educate on how we can pay for the stuff we're proposing. This is my platform. This is where I come in. I can tell you how to pay for it. but for the structural hurdles, for the electoral reform, for all these other things. These are the things right here that are really, really important to put in place and explain and constantly explain and drive it and drive it and drive it like water dripping, eroding those sensibilities that block them from leaving the duopoly. You've got to do more than just talk about Donald Trump and not my president and resist Trump. I mean, I'm telling you right now, that's a short-term strategy. It's very tactical. That is not strategic. It is not strategic in any way, shape, or form. You've got to show that you can deliver. And that's what our challenge is for those of us out here who are preaching, leave the duopoly. For those of us who are preaching, you got to leave and come join us. That's our challenge. Credibility. How do we make this happen? So with that, understand the Democratic Party is pure, unadulterated evil. They don't care about progressives at all. Like, when I say at all, I'm not even talking about a slight reach around, folks. We're talking about people that do not care about us until they need a scapegoat to blame for why they didn't win. So we have a great opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity to make real, meaningful change. But it requires credibility. And that credibility is not going to come in the form of not my president, fuck Trump, all that stuff. That is not credibility. Credibility comes from building what you're trying to be. Who are you? What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want this movement to be when you grow up? And we've got the platform. I'm going to say this till I turn red in the face. We already have the platform. The platform exists. It's Bernie meets Jill. That is the progressive platform. It doesn't even need an ounce of tweaking other than the bullshit about taxation, funding, spending. You get away from that bourgeois. And man, we're hitting and sticking like Granny's chicken because a lot of those Trumpers are people who are progressive, who just literally hated Hillary Clinton. And who could blame them, right? Who could blame anybody for hating the Democrats or Hillary Clinton? So it's up to us to break out that giant net and catch them as they fall and bring them into the fold with a positive proposal for how we can execute, what we're going to execute, and why we're going to execute. And I think that if we do that, we win. If we don't do that, then all of a sudden we're going to be at the last minute rushing to try and get people to remember what it was that we stood for. And that's not going to work. So with that, I have a special treat tonight. I'm going to re-interview Sam Ronan tonight after his 0-vote DNC chair run. Now, I want to be real above board here, folks. I like Sam a lot. I do. I don't care if he's a Democrat or not. I like Sam a lot. And I'd like to pull Sam out of that. And I'd like to talk to him because I do care about the guy. I think he's a really good guy. I think he's just pushing for a really bad party. But I think he's got a tremendous upside. And I think he's a thinker. So let's see what happens tonight, folks. 8 o'clock tonight, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day.